welcome back to 2 on Builds. Time to make a sign. Teach you how to do it. Ready? Go. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this sign, or this wood right here, and we're gonna make a sign that says Pristine on it. Pristine? What's that? Well, let me tell you a story. Quick, easy, simple story. Gentleman I work with, his name is Montreal. He owns Pristine Mobile. And what they do is they clean vehicles. So he pulls them into a garage sometimes, in his garage, cleans them, and he wants to have a sign on the wall because he makes videos about cleaning cars so he can get some business. So, and speaking of which, you want to see him clean some cars, I'll leave a link in the social media. If you need your car cleaned, Pristine Mobile, you live in the Mankato area, hit him up. Anyway, back to business. Let's jump into Vectric. I'm going to show you all the steps to making it. And if you're brand new, this is perfect for you. If you're not brand new, you need a little fresher, maybe pick up different tips. This will be great for you too. All right, see you over in Vectric. All right, we are here in Vectric. This is just the VCarve Pro. This will work the same in all the programs, okay? So we're sitting here, we're going to go right to create a new file right here. And I hit create a new file. Now, dimensions of that board are roughly 26 by 16, 3/4 of an inch thick. We need to make the sign 24 inches by, what was it, 24 by 14 and 3 inches thick, or 3/4 of an inch thick, 3 inches. Oh my goodness, no, 3/4 of an inch. So I have that in here. The size of the board, not what we're gonna cut it to, because we'll add that in, but this is the size of the board, 26 by 16 and by 3/4. Now, in this job setup right here, this is what initially pops up. You can decide where you want to surface from. I always surface from the materials surface. Is it better than going from the bed? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. All I know is I've always used material surface, and if I change it, I'll F it all up. So we're just using material surface because that's my habit. Habits are important in this scenario, and I don't want to mess things up. All right, the other thing, datum. Our datum, this is where everything is calculated from in your work, right? So right now while we're designing, I just leave it in the center because then I can get everything aligned to the center. And I'm going to show you a tip for doing that because you'll use it all the time. Okay, so I want it in the middle so I can align everything to the center of my board. We'll change it before we save, but that's where we're going to do it while we're designing. All right, the other thing, slower, faster, I hope you guys don't mind. I'm going to go right here. This is how the resolution and how things look. I just want to do faster because I don't want to sit here and wait for everything to cut and make it look so cool. It takes longer. So we're just going to hit standard, so it just shows you what's going on. All right, material settings. I don't think they have cedar in here. There is no cedar, so we're just gonna go with medium wood because it's kind of a medium wood color. Might have a little red, but we're gonna do medium wood. All right, last thing we need to do is hit the OK button and click a Rooney. All right, so this white area right here, let me scroll back. This white area is the size of this board that I was showing you, that piece of cedar. That is that size, that's the 26 by 16. Now this gray area is just outside of it. Now the first thing, number one thing that we want to do is we want to flatten that board, right? So we have to create a toolpath for that. And to flatten it, I'm using my favorite bit right here. I'll give you a close-up. This one's kind of burnt out. My other one's in the machine, so this is just an old used burnt out one that I've had for a long time. But I'll show you this one. And I'll leave a link in the description. It's my favorite. It's heavy, it's thick, it absorbs a lot of the heat. Yeah, and keeps it away from the wood so you don't get as many burn marks. I love this bit. All right, and it's a mana. I can't remember the numbers. It's like 45592 or something. Oh, it's right here. And so what we need to do is we need to create a toolpath. And this bit is 1 1/8 inches wide. Now some people want their bit to run all the way off the board and then all the way back on when they're cutting. So this is our piece of wood. This is our flattening bit. They want it to be all the way out here and they want it to run across the board and flatten it and run all the way off and run all the way up. And they run way off to the side. Man, what a waste of time if you ask me. I don't mind if you run it right off to the 1 1/8 inch, that's fine. But I'd rather have it stay on the board a little bit That's just me. So I'm just gonna run 1 inch, 1/8 of an inch will still stay on the board. If there's 1/8 of an inch and burnt on each side, I don't care. It's not gonna hurt anything. Sometimes it burns because it stops, the machine moves in a direction, then it starts making its next cut, right? So that bit right there, we need to make the tool path for that. And so it needs to be, the square for that tool path needs to be bigger than the machined area of this board. All right, so we're gonna go right up here, see where I am, it says draw a rectangle. So we're gonna go there and we're gonna draw a rectangle. Now our sign is 26 inches wide. We need it to be 1 inch wider on each side. So we have 1 inch on the left side, 1 inch on the right side. Class, what is it when you add 26 plus 1 plus 1? That's right, it's 28 inches. So we need a 28 inch wide square. Our sign, or our board is 16 inches and we need 1 inch on the top. Don't really need 1 inch on the bottom, but I'm gonna put 1 inch all the way around just for my own, we really don't need to worry about the top and bottom because it's just running across the top and bottom. We really only have to worry about the sides. But I am gonna make it overhang a little bit. So I'm gonna give it 1/2 inch, right? So we need to add 1/2 inch on the bottom and 1/2 inch on the top, okay? So 16 plus 1/2 plus 1/2, class? Very good, 17. We're gonna put that right here, 17 inches. I hope my math is right and you guys aren't making fun of me. All right, hit create. All right, you see what happened there? Let me close this. Right here, you can see that it created a square that's bigger than my workpiece. That's exactly what we want. So this part is done. Now, I'm gonna show you something that a lot of people that teach on how to use Vectric don't show you. And this is a simple sign, so it's great to get into the habit now with something simple rather than later on when you're doing something hugely complex. Like if you go and look at my videos, there's the, what is that board called? Aggravation board I made. There were so many layers in that thing, it was ridiculous. It was such a headache. I started without layers. I'm like, oh man, I should be making layers. I had to go back and put everything in layers. Do it when you make the lines, right? So what's a layer? Well, if you go right up here where my cursor is, it says layers. Hit that. When it drops down, you're gonna go ahead and bloop on this little add new layer, all right? Boom. Now, what we're doing is we're flattening the board with this layer, with this tool, with this path, right? So I'm gonna call this the flatten layer. And what we'll do is you have to hit enter. Once you hit enter, it highlights, it's there, right? And it says flatten here, so we know that's the layer that we're working on. If we'll show you later, I can get it to turn red when we have more layers. All right, now what we wanna do is we wanna highlight this so that it's pink, and then you're going to right click, and it pulls up this little drop down. And the easiest thing is come all the way down here and see where it says move to. We're gonna move it not to a different sheet, but to a layer. And we come down and we pick flatten layer. We're gonna put it on the flatten layer. Now, if I go up here and I turn off these little circles up here, right here, they turn things off. So I turn off this layer, that's fine. I turn it back on, we're good. But if I turn off the flatten layer, you watch, this pink line is gonna disappear. It's off. And see it turned red right here? It means you're on this layer, but there's nothing there, it's turned off. Why are you working on this layer, all right? So we turn it back on, that line comes back, and we are all set. It is in the flatten layer. And right here, if you hit this little box that looks like a TV on a TV stand, it's actually a color box. So if I click on this, it pulls up the colors. And we can change the color on this so we can differentiate our lines. I'm gonna make it red. Look at that, bang, red it is. Okay, that was step one. Nice and simple. We'll create the toolpaths for this later. We're just creating the lines, the design for the toolpaths. So step two, our next thing is we need to create the size of the sign, right? So we're gonna go up here to draw a rectangle. All right, so the size of the sign that he wants 24 inches, and it's gonna be 14 tall. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit create, and look, it made that, but it's red, and this isn't flattening. You guys, this class is so smart. You are catching on. So we're gonna go back up here to flatten. And what are we gonna call this? We're just gonna call this pocket layer because we're pocketing out the name Pristine, right? So I'm gonna do add new layer. We're gonna call it Pristine. And I'm going to make this a color. I did pink one time and it messed me up. Do not use pink as a color because whenever you highlight lines in your design, they turn pink. Just save yourself the headache and don't do it. So these lines here, they're gonna be blue. Why not? All right. And we are now working on the Pristine layer. You can see it says Pristine here. Now I'm gonna click on this line. Bango. Whoa, hang on. I was still in the design squares. So we're gonna go ahead and delete this, and I don't need this one, we're gonna delete that. All right, I'm gonna click on the line for the frame, or for the sign. And I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna do move to, layer, Pristine. That way, when I'm working, I can see where that is. Now, if I don't want to get confused, I can turn layers off. And I think I'm gonna turn the flatten layer off right now. I don't want to see it. So I can go here and I can turn this off and it won't bother me one bit, okay? All right, now that we have the size of the sign cut out, I want this sign to have a frame before we do the Pristine part in the middle, right? It needs to have a little frame. And I'm gonna keep life simple. I'm just gonna use an inch. It's just gonna be a small little frame around it, okay? So how do we do a 1-inch frame? Wow, you guys are gonna learn so much today. Well, there is a button that is one of my favorites, and it's right here. It's the offset, right? So we are going to go ahead, we can highlight this, I don't think it'll matter, but we're gonna come right here to the offset. And you can see my mouse, I'm coming up to the offset right here. It says offset selected vectors. I click on it. Now you can see here, this blue line is exactly what this pink line is here, right? So we're gonna make another line and we're gonna offset it from this pink one. Now we definitely do not wanna offset it outside of it, and we don't need both. We want a line, a new line created inside of this blue, so we're gonna use inward. Now how wide do we want that to be? Well, my frame is, I said I want it to be 1 inch. We're gonna be 1 inch. And I'm gonna create sharp offset corners for this. I don't think it'll matter. We will be using a V-bit, might make it look a little more designer. We don't need to delete the original, and we're not gonna, it won't matter if we select new. I'm gonna hit offset. Now when I hit this, you watch, it's gonna create that line. Boom, it's done. Now here's the cool thing. This line, because we are in Pristine layer right here, not in any other layer, it created it in this layer. And how do I know that? Because it's blue. All the lines in this layer will be blue. So here's the outside of my sign, and here's the inside of the frame, right? And this gap in here all the way around, this is the frame, okay? Next, we need to create the word Pristine in the middle. How do you do that? Well, we're gonna go right to this button here. You can see where I am, boop. And this is draw text. It's that simple. All right, and the text, I sent him some things, and the text we're gonna use is the MS Gothic. You could pick all kinds. There's zillions of them, right? So you can click whatever you want, but this is what we decided on. And this was great because it's gonna teach you something besides just text, right? We're gonna do text, not text in a box. And I'm gonna click right here. I'm gonna put cap lock on because all capitals, Pristine, Pristine. Oh, Pristine. Well, we might have a problem. No, this is what I was telling you about learning something new. We'll get to this in a second. All right, we're not doing bold, we're not doing italic. You see the text height, this 3.15431? You don't have to worry about that. I figured that out when I was designing this for him and showing him what we wanted. That was the height, so I already have it in there. All right, anchor doesn't really matter in this situation. It's not anything we're gonna do here. And we're gonna hit close. Now I'm gonna scroll out. Check this. Why did this go up and down and not across? Well, that's what that MS Gothic, whatever, it makes it this way. That's just the way it creates the text. So we need to turn this text so that it fits in the middle here. So class, how do you think we do that? Oh, you guys are so smart. You're right, there is a rotate button. You can see where I am right here. Yep, it says rotate selected objects. Just for a hint, there are hotkeys for this. I'm not gonna go over it because you won't memorize it anyway, and if I show you this button, you'll always know how to find it. Okay, so rotate selected objects. We're gonna click on it. You can see it put these little dots around the Pristine and a little circle in the middle. That means it's active. As long as it's pink, you're good to go. All right, now we're gonna anchor it to the middle. We're gonna do relative to where it is, and we're not gonna change anything, but right here where it says angle, we're gonna put in 90 degrees and see what happens. So 90, and we're gonna hit apply. Bang, perfect. Look at that, it turned it the right way, but it put it underneath. Okay, class, I told you about the famous button that you should never forget because you're gonna use it all the time in design. Can you tell me what it is? Yes, the F9 button, you guys. So as long as Pristine here is highlighted pink, we can hit that F9 button. Bang, right in the middle. Woo! We are so good. You guys are learning a lot today. All right, now my bits that I'm going to use to cut out around Pristine, it's a 1/4 inch. We need to have at least that much space between these so that the bit can run through. Now this is a big sign, right? So 1/4 inch bit shouldn't be a problem. But some of these letters, like if you look right here, I'm gonna scroll in just a little bit, make this a little bigger. Between the R and the I, between the T and the I, those are so close. And then between S and the T, it looks like a giant gap. So we need to figure out how to line these up better. And in the world of print and advertising, and typing, that's called kerning. That's the space between the letters. So we need to kern them. And how do we do that? Well, it is built right into the software. We don't have, it's so easy. All right, so we're gonna go back to draw text. You see where I am up here? Draw text, where we were before. I'm not gonna touch anything on this side. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna take my mouse. You can see it here, it has a T sitting next to it. I'm gonna come right in here. Did you notice how it changed to the V and A and the little plus sign? Now, if I left click on my mouse, it's gonna pull those letters together. Now, you're saying, why are you pulling them together, you moron? We want them to be spread out farther so that you can fit the bit between them. So, how do we do that? Well, instead of just left clicking the mouse, you hold down Shift and left click. And it just does the opposite. It pushes them apart. So Shift and left click. Now this space is plenty good here. I'm worried about this space. So I'm gonna put this little plus sign between the R and the I. Holding the Shift, I click. I think I want one more. And just to level it out and put one here. This does not need anything. This maybe up here. Yep, we'll do a click here. And one here for good measure. Maybe one more. I'm thinking that looks decent. I'm not gonna be too picky. I don't think he is either. All right, so before you do anything, you just hit close. Before you do anything else, you hit close. Now look at this. I'm gonna scroll out. That Pristine, there is a huge gap between the frame and the start of Pristine here. And a little itty bitty one here. Can anyone tell me in the class how we're gonna fix that? Yes, the F9 button. So Pristine is pink and we're gonna hit F9. Boom, centered it. Pristine, looks pristine. Pun intended. Yeah, pun intended. I don't know why we would never say pun unintended. Dude, this is like dad jokes for free. Pun intended. I digress. And the next step, Pristine. Yeah. All right, so now let's click off of this, make sure it's blue. Awesome, it's all in the same layer. We're cool here. And I don't think that there are any other necessary thing. Oh, we do need to do a cutout layer. Right? So let's make one more, because we've got to cut out the sign after it's done. And I'm not going to throw it on the table, so when I have a machine that'll cut it out for me. So Pristine, I'm going to go add new layer. And we're going to call this, because I always call this, we're going to call this cut out. And I hit enter, we have a cutout layer. I'm going to make the cutout layer purple. Why not? All right, come down here. Now this line right here that I highlighted in pink, that's gonna be the cutout. We need to cut out around that line, right? Because that's the outside. I'm just gonna make life easy and move that, just like a cow, move, move that layer to the cutout layer. Look at it. Watch, when I come out, when I hit this, it's gonna be purple. It's hard to tell, it looks black, but it's actually purple. Let's make that a lighter purple so the whole world can see it. There, now it looks purple. So now it's purple. It's in that layer. So if I go up here and I turn off the cutout layer, boom, it's not there. Turn off Pristine, boom, it's not there. And you can click on these so you know what layers you're working on. Right now we're on the Pristine layer. Cool, that is our sign. I mean, if I turn on all the layers, we'll see our sign. There, there. That's all it takes to make this sign. This is so simple, you guys. You can make some money with this simple sign like this. It's just a simple, square, easy sign, right? Okay, now we need to do the toolpaths. And the toolpaths tab is up here. But you see, if I get it to pop open and I move away, it goes away. How do you get it to stay open? Well, you could, when it's open, you can hit the pin button, or see this little arrow here? You come up there, click that, boom, pulls up the toolpaths, and they stay, they don't go away. All right, so what are we gonna do first? The first tool, does everyone here know what a toolpath is? A toolpath is what you actually want your bit to do. So let's talk about that. The first thing we want, we're just gonna turn on the flatten layer, because that's our first step. All right, we don't need layer 1 anymore. All right, flatten layer. So we wanna flatten, which means we wanna use our flattening bit to flatten that. Well, that's definitely not a profile, that is a pocket. We're cutting everything out inside of a pocket. That's what a flattening is. So I'm gonna click on this one right here, and we're gonna hit pocket toolpath. Let's get rid of these bits that are in there because we don't need those. They kind of save them from previous designs, right? They save in there. Okay. Now, we're gonna start cutting at 0. 0 is the surface of my material. We're starting at 0. And how far do we want to cut down? Well, this flattening bit, I've done some heavy duty work with this one. It even burned because I was going so deep. You don't need to do deep cuts to flatten. So let's just go for a depth of 0.04. And yes, I did just pull that out of my butt. That's just what we're gonna use. I've seen people use 0.2, I've seen people use 0.1. Just find one that works for you and your machine. Some machines can handle a hard cut, some machines can't. Right? This bit will be fine. I have the Onefinity. It'll be fine. It will cut nicely. And if it might not cover the whole board by the time I'm done. I don't know how wobbly and off that board is. It's been around for a while. I may have to run the same file again to get it flat. But I'm going to run the file on the back side. I'm going to flip it over, run it on the top side. It's going to work perfect. Okay? So, cut depth. We're going to leave it there. Now, the tool we're going to use, I'm going to hit select here because this is how you find your tools. I'm going to come here and I have a lot. And I try to keep everything under my tools, but I have a lot of different ones. And what we're looking for is a flattening bit. I have my flattening bits here. And there it is. It is the 45525 spoil board. Right, this has been my favorite so far, so we're gonna use this one. I'm not gonna worry about any of this garbage here. It's just saved from when I had my machine. I'm not even gonna mess with it. I'm just gonna go down here and hit select. Now what I want to do is I want to go to edit next. I want to see how fast I have this running. I want to see how fast I have it. Well, I don't have a spindle, but if you have a spindle, you'll want to see how fast it's spinning. Plunge rate isn't really going to matter. So we're going to go here and it's telling me, oh, we want to know the step over. So step over is at 60%. I'm cool with that. That means that when this bit is running across the board, 60% of it is cutting and 40% is just going over where you've already cut. It makes it easy to eject and it keeps the bit from getting too warm. It's just a good place to start. And you can lower it and raise it depending on your machine and what it can handle, or a bit if you're not using this one, what it can handle. All right, spindle speed. I'm not gonna worry about spindle speed because I have a router and I adjust the speed on the router. Yep, and so feed rate is set to 130. That is perfect. I'm not too concerned. I don't want to worry about running too quick. Some machines can go way faster, some just can't. So, but mine 130 works on the Onefinity, no problem. All right, we go to here, we hit the OK button. Oakley dokley. And then from there, we're gonna go passes. We don't need to edit any passes. We're gonna leave it on offset because I want to show you something. And then we're not gonna ramp because it's 0.4. It's gonna run through it. No pocket allowance, anything else. We're just gonna go ahead and change this toolpath to flatten, and then I'm gonna put 45525. That is the number of the bit I'm using. I'll know when I see that, oh, that's the flattening bit, because I know my bit numbers, all right? If you don't know your numbers, you can put flattening bit 1/1/8, whatever you want. But just put it in there so you remember it when you see the toolpath, you know what tool you're using. All right, I'm gonna hit calculate. No vectors selected. Class, how do we get through this? Oh, we gotta select the vector. This is a vector, and it is highlighted pink. Once it's pink, you can hit calculate. And there it is. Now look at this. You see how this is running in squares all around? That is not what you want at all. You do not want your machine flattening a board in squares. You know why? Because you'll kind of see that pattern in the cut. And then you're sanding and no. You want your flattening to run with the grain of the board. Makes your life easier. It looks nicer. Back and forth. You know those old matrix printers they had in like the 1980s? That's what you want here. You want it to run that way. So to fix it, we go to hover over flatten, double click, pulls everything up. And that's what this was telling you right here. This offset is telling you that it's going in squares. That's not what we want. We want a raster. When I click raster, you'll see it's going back and forth, back and forth. We're not going to change any raster angles. We don't need a profile pass. We just need it to clear all of that board. All right, calculate. Boom, done. Now we want to see what this looks like, right? So just for the fun of it, you can click on flatten, as long as it's highlighted like it is, and you can go to toolpath color right up here. We're going to highlight that box, toolpath color. We're going to hit the drop down, and I believe we were red when we flattened before. I believe it was red was the line. So we're gonna do red there. All right. Now out of habit, I hit this button every time. Habits are important. I told you the habit of hitting F9, the habit of always surface off the material surface and not the bed. Same thing, use your habits. So I'm always hit the reset preview and I do preview all here. Hopefully this goes quick. I think I have it set up for fastest. Yep, it's set up to go fast. All right, ready, and preview all. It's probably gonna take it for, where's my tool? I'll fix it for next time. Usually there's a little tool running across to show you that it's flattening. But instead you have the little blue bar across the bottom showing you that it is flattening. All right, so it is all red. Everywhere that bit cut turned red. That's what this toolpath color shows. Now I'm gonna tilt this a little bit. You can use this to move. And I wanna scroll in on this corner. All right, and you see that corner right there? If there was a little chunk of wood color sticking up there, that means we didn't do things right. But because there isn't, it means we cut it all. What that means is this bit is round. So if it wasn't coming all the way across that corner and working its way back across, that's where your indicator would be that you messed things up. Worked perfect. Okay. Want to angle things back up, hit the top button again, squares it all right back up. Now, because I'm not enjoying this red, I'm gonna go right back to material color. Flatten it. Oh, we gotta go back here. We gotta say no fill. Go back to material color. Now we're all set. It doesn't have a little red dot here like it did. All right, now we're gonna go over here back to 2D view. Now you can split things up, but for the case of this video, I want you to see what's happening, right? So we are done with our flatten. So we can turn that off. Next thing we need to do, we need to hit this little one here to turn on Pristine. And all the Pristine turned on. So that is awesome. Now what we want to do is we want to cut out all of this area in the middle. We do not want to cut into Pristine. We do not want to cut past this line. If I were to highlight Pristine and set up a toolpath, it would cut out everything inside of the Pristine. The way to get around that so you aren't cutting into these letters and cutting around the outside of them, making a pocket around them, is you're going to highlight the outside line, you're going to hold shift, and you're going to highlight Pristine. It will not cut inside that Pristine, it will cut everything in between here, okay? And that's what we want. So I'm going to close this because we don't need to preview anything anymore. We need to cut out this, and guess what this is? This is a pocket in our wood. So we need to do another pocket cutout. And we're gonna go right here, pocket toolpath, and it brings it right up. Now, just as before, we're gonna start right at the surface, and I'm only gonna make this 1/8 of an inch deep. It's gonna be painted black in the background. Nobody's gonna be able to really tell how deep it actually is, right? So we're gonna do 0.125, all right? Now, for the bit, we're not using a spoil board bit to cut out this pocket. I mean, we probably could. It would be nasty and a waste of time. We're done with the flattening bit. You can put that back in your box, okay? So let's remove that tool. Now, I like to rip through this wood. You could use any bit you want. You could use a 1/4 inch, whatever, but I'm just gonna rip through it quick, and I'm gonna show you one of my favorite bits. It's this bit right here. It's called the Beast. It's from IDC Woodcraft. I'll get you a close-up right here. Now, this bit will rip through wood. I'm only going 1/8 of an inch deep, so I probably really don't need to use this, but I'm gonna use it, okay? Normally on a sign, when you're cutting out with that bit, you can cut it out, but it's gonna leave a rough bottom and rough edges, which means you wouldn't cut as deep or as wide into the sign as you need, which is something you don't even need to worry about right now, right? So if you're using a 1/4 inch bit, that is great. You don't have to have the Beast. You can use a 1/4 inch upcut bit to cut out this pocket. We'll cut it like a breeze, right? But the secret, so you don't have to create more toolpaths, the secret that I use that I found with this, and I have had these bits for a while now, and I've been using them on signs. What I like to do is use that and make a textured background, but on all the outside edges, where the frame is and around the letters, I use a 60-degree V-bit, because it creates just a little angle around all that and cleans it all up. It looks fantastic, and it adds some good detail. And you know, when it comes to designing, the design is the details. You know, people say, well, the devil's in the details, blah, blah, blah. No, the design is the details that you make. That creates the design, and that's what we're doing here with that, all right? So let's start with that. So we're gonna go to select, and now that bit, the Beast bit that I'm using, it's under roughing bits, right here, the Beast. And if you wanna know where to get it, you can go right here. IDC Woodcraft Beast. It'll take you, if I click that, it would take us right to the website. You can see that. I say go check that bit out, right? Go to his site. Check out the video that he has there on what that bit can do. It's crazy. Same thing with the hog. That one's there too. They're nuts. They're awesome, okay? I'm not sponsored by Garrett and IDC Woodcraft at all. I just love their bits. And if I can support another guy that's teaching you how to be a CNCer, more power, right? All right, and he knows what he's doing. He's been doing it a while. All right, I'm not saying you're old, Garrett. Anyway, so let's go back. All right, I'm not gonna worry about any of these right here. That's pretty much what's been in there. I'm just gonna hit select. Now that it's highlighted, I'm gonna go to edit. This is where I can change those parameters. I want you to see this. The step over on this bit is 80. That means you can cut 80% with that bit. 80% of that bit is cutting when you're moving. I mean, typically when you're using a 1/4 inch bit, you're getting way less than that, right? So this is gonna cut a lot faster, and it can cut a lot deeper too. Look at this pass depth. It could cut up to 3/4 of an inch if your machine can handle it. What? That's insane. All right, spindle speed, I don't have a spindle, I'm not worried about it. Feed rate. You could do 80 to 100 pretty easy at these depths on some machines. I mean, you can go faster. We're only cutting a 1/4 inch deep. I am not worried about it, so I'm just gonna do 100. Plunge rate is 80. We're only gonna plunge down a couple times. And let's see here. I think that does it all, right? I'm gonna hit okay. I'm just gonna leave it right at this. If you wanna experiment and go faster with your machine, give it a shot. You wanna go slower? That's a good thing to start with. All right, so hitting okay. Now I told you we're gonna use this 60-degree V-bit, right? And this V-bit, this is one of my favorites. It is, I wrote it down, hang on, patience with me. All right, it is the 1550, and it's a 60-degree V-bit. It's a 1550 by Whiteside. I've had a couple of these over the years, and they last. They just do a good job. I don't abuse them or anything, but they last. They stay pretty sharp. Just keep them clean. So I'll leave a link for that in the description. And here's a close-up for you. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right, so we're gonna go to select here, And let's close out this so it doesn't get crazy. And that is a V-bit, right? So I have my own tools set up here, and V-bit. That is the 1550. Look at that, it's the first one. I wonder why. So I click on that, it pulls it up. This is all the stuff. We're not even gonna worry about this because this isn't where we're changing things. So we're gonna select this bit. Now while it's highlighted, I come over here to edit so we can change the parameters for this bit. Our pass depth is fine. It's gonna cut right through it. We're not cutting through anything. We're just decorating the outside edges of everything with this. All right, our step over isn't gonna matter. We're not gonna be doing a clearance pass anyway. Our spindle speed, I don't have a spindle. So our feed rate is at 120. Now here's the thing with this bit, depending on the wood you're using, or with any V-bit, if the wood is too hard and you're going too fast, you're gonna get these chatter marks along the way if your bit isn't sharp enough, right? There's a lot of factors into it. So with your machine, you might have to do a little experimenting before you get it just the way you want it. All right, so 120 is what I'm gonna use because this is cedar. I could go faster if I wanted, but I'm not going to because I don't want to give you guys any wrong ideas. All right, so 120 plunge rate, doesn't matter, it's 20, be fine. I'm going to hit OK. There it is, that part is all set up. Our next step is passes. Now, if I click on this, it shows me how many passes for the beast. If I click on this, it shows me how many passes for this bit, and it's all good. So let's just do one bit at a time when we run through this. So we're gonna do the beast roughing end mill first. All right, now offset. Now you might think in your mind that doing raster is how you wanna do this, right? Go with the grain and no, because if you use raster, it's not gonna cut out around these letters nicely, right? If you go to, it just doesn't do it, right? You can do a profile pass and we can do that last and we can see how that works, but you're not gonna like it. Okay, so we'll do that. We're just gonna do it, and I'll show you. All right, profile pass. We're gonna do a climb cut with a raster, and we always ramp, right? That bit's a 1/4 inch, so you need at least 1/2 inch, not 5 inches, 1/2 inch to ramp. Double the width. Okay, and everything is here. We're gonna go ahead and call this Pristine Pocket, and I'm gonna do beast. And I'm gonna do 1550 so that I know that those are the bits I'm using here. And they are highlighted like we need to have. The vectors are highlighted. So we're gonna hit calculate and it calculated them all. So let's go ahead and do a reset. We're gonna put the animate tool on there so you can see it. All right, ready? And we did reset. All right, preview all toolpaths. Might take a little bit, but it'll happen. And there is that cool tool I was telling you about. It's showing you everywhere we're flattening. Might take it a second, so let's do a little speed ramp. Ready, go. And I'm slowing it down here because I want you to see it cut out the pristine, and it happens pretty quick when it cuts this out, right? So now we're done with the flattening, and now it's cutting out pristine. That's the beast doing its thing. And then the beast cuts around everything, and then the 1550 bit comes in and cut around all the edges. So let's show you the pristine pocket. We're gonna go ahead and make this a different color. So we're gonna go to toolpath, and we'll drop down the colors, and we'll just make it green, because why not, right? Showing green. We'll make this one green too. You can see where that's cutting. So you can see there are little different greens. You can see where the lighter green had to go to cut to make a difference in all the edge. Now if we scroll in and move, they changed the buttons on me. You can see it looks pretty clean around these letters, right? Now I'm gonna turn the color off on this one. And we're gonna go back to no fill. You can see it looks pretty clean there. There's no bumps or anything. And that's because we did the last pass. If we didn't do that last pass, it would look ugly. In fact, do you want to see what that looks like? We'll double click on it. See where it says raster? If we did no pass, no profile pass, and we did calculate, and I'm gonna hit reset preview, and I'm gonna preview all. I'm not gonna move it. I'm just gonna pop this back up when it's done. All right, you can see what happened here. You see all this edge where these little bumps are? That's where that hog bit jumped in, right? Because we did not do a profile pass around everything, it made a huge mess, okay? So we want to do a profile. Now you can do the whatever the other one was called. We can do the offset, but it looks goofy around the letters. It just kind of leaves all these big circles around. That's not what we want. That's not going to work the way we want it. So we're using raster, and we're always going to have the profile pass be last. I don't want to do it first. I want it to cut out afterwards. It just saves on the bits. All right, I'm going to hit calculate and reset preview. All right, and we're going to leave it here for now. Let me scroll back out. It's showing all the lines. Click on top so it's in the middle. All right, next step. Let's turn off these because we don't want to see them. Our next step is texturing. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, what is texturing? Holy cow, what is that? Well, I'm going to hit close here and show you. There is a button right here, and it says Texture Toolpath. And it's going to make little grooves and texture in the background around the Pristine and inside the frame. So where the bottom, where we cut down to that 1.25 inches, it's going to start grooving out into that depth, right? And just make some fun texture. It looks like wood or just something, gives a little pizzazz to it that I like. I do it with a lot of signs. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I'm going to show you the bit, my favorite bit to use. And you can be like, I've never heard of that bit. What is that? Well, this bit is from Amana. Again, I'm not sponsored by Amana or anything. They just make a lot of bits, right? And it's this bit right here. Let me give you a close-up. And now that bit right there, that is called a core box bit. And this is the Amana 45910. Do not do what I did one time and confuse it. Wanted to order another one, and I ordered the, I think it was the RC 45910. Well, the 45910 with an RC on it means it has a bearing on the bit. Do not put bits with a bearing into your CNC machine, please. Don't do it, right? Just don't. Just get this bit. It does not have the PC on it. It is the 45910. Put it real big across the screen there. 45910. All right, and this bit, it's a 1/4 inch radius. It can cut up to a 3/8 inch depth and works fantastic. Just makes a nice little groove with that round end on it. And that's what I use for texturing. So let's go to the texture button right here. Bang, go. Now, I have this bit selected because when you go to the tool thing, I'll show you. When you go to tools and you click on Amana, there's just way too many. It's a pain in the butt to find. I'm sure there's a search button. I don't even know how to use it. So I just found it and it's in there automatic, and it pretty much stays there because I never changed this. All right, now our start depth, look at that. It's already set for 1/4 inch. Where we left off cutting down into that Pristine sign, this bit needs to cut deeper. So it needs to start where we left off. That's what I set here. We don't need to use selected vectors as pattern. We're not doing anything like that. All right, texture settings. Man, these look so confusing, don't they? And they are. Now, I have done this for a while, made signs for a while. The easiest thing to do is tell you, mess around with it. Do some designs so you can see what they look like. Then maybe cut a few on some boards. They don't have to be in a sign. You can just cut them right at the surface and see what until you find something you like, okay? And with the core box bit, I'm gonna load them. Because if you find settings you like, save them. You hit the save button, it will save those settings for you. Call them what you want and save them. All right, so I'm gonna load mine because I think I called mine the 45910 or something. So I'm gonna load, and right here, 45910 core texture. All right, I'm gonna open it. It's right there. I have it saved. If you're gonna use this bit and you like what you see here, there's the settings. Push pause, write them down, put them in yours, whatever you want. This is what I use. I like it. All right, boundary vector offset. We need to have one of those because if we don't offset this from running in, like if this is my vector, this finger is my vector on that board, and this bit is running across and it comes up to that vector, if we don't offset it, the center of that bit is going to run into that vector, right? The center of the bit wants to hit that vector. It's goofy, right? So you want to have it come up to that vector a little bit, lift up, go over the vector, go back down and cut, right? Especially around those Pristine letters. We want it to go up, over, and around. So we have to have an offset so it doesn't run into that vector. All right, so with this one, I know from experience that I typically use 0.4. We're gonna try 0.35 with it though. I want it to get a little closer because between those Pristine, the letters in Pristine, it's pretty tight, right? So I might want to try and squeeze a few in there. A few little textures. All right, and we're just gonna call this texture, and we're gonna call it texture 45910. And that way I know that's the bit I'm using. And I'm gonna hit calculate. And it throws it there. So we're gonna hit reset preview. We're gonna go preview all. As soon as Pristine pops up, I'll bring this up. Actually, before we even start, I'm gonna turn this to no fill. All right, and now for this, so you can see where this is cutting, I wanna give this a color. I'm gonna give it a lighter color. I'm just gonna give it a light blue so you can see where it's cutting, all right? So we're gonna reset preview, and we're gonna do preview all toolpaths. And I'll pop in here before we get to texture. All right, so now we're cutting out the Pristine, and in a second, that texture bit will take over. And you can see it's just cutting in there and back and forth, making that cool design, little break around the letters, cutting right back in. And boom, you can see everywhere it cut. And I like using a lighter color to be able to see where the texture went. And you can see we have between the N and the E, it hit a little bit. It's just getting in there a little bit. And I like that. I don't want it overbearing and too much, but I like the way that turned out. We're just gonna rock with it. And so from here, oh, let's turn that off because that's gonna get annoying. Let's get rid of that blue. That, I want no fill. There we go. Material color. All right, that's our sign, right? That's what we're gonna cut. Now, is there anything else I need to talk about here before we go to saving? Man, I was going to save and I forgot one more toolpath. There's one more we have to do, so I apologize. We have to go and create the cutout, right? So let's go to the cutout layer, turn the rest off. We need to cut out this sign. So how do we do that? Well, that's pretty simple. It's just gonna be a end mill, a 1/4 inch end mill. So I'm just using, I like to use a compression bit, but mine is broken. So I'm just gonna show you an upcut end mill, and we're gonna use that and run it around the outside. Now there's a couple things we need to do, all right? So we have it highlighted here. Let me click on it. It's purple now, but now it's pink. Now this is a profile toolpath because you're cutting out the profile of the sign. So I'm gonna click here on profile toolpath. Now, to cut this out, we're gonna start at the surface and work our way down all the way through that 3/4 inch board. Now, some people do this, some don't. It's 3/4, so I put a 1 at the end just to make sure it goes all the way through, right? You can see it on my wasteboard. It does. All right, the bit we're gonna use is a 1/4 inch end mill upcut. Now you can use any one you want. The one I have is IDC Woodcraft. And we're gonna click on edit. Now, a lot of machines you can blaze through with a bit like that, right? But we don't need a step over. And I'm just gonna leave it at 150 because again, I don't want to give the wrong idea like your machine can do 250 inches a minute if it wants, if you just have a little desktop, right? So I'm just gonna leave it at 100 with a plunge rate of 50. We're gonna hit OK. Now, it's gonna be from there, we go to passes. It's gonna do 6 passes, that's fine, all right? Now, do we want this to go on the outside, the inside, or on the line? Well, I don't wanna cut inside the line, that's gonna cut into my 1-inch frame. I don't want to cut on the line because it's still going to cut into my frame. I want to cut outside, right? That's why this is clicked. We want to cut outside of this line. We want to cut out the profile, okay? Direction, just leave it at climb. Separate last pass. Yes, please. What is a separate last pass? Well, when you're using your end mill and it's running around cutting out that sign, it's gonna leave little groove marks and sometimes little fuzzies at the top, especially with an upcut bit. If you do a last pass, you can have it cut right near there, and then if you do a last pass, it cuts right up to the line on a last pass through, right? So it does all the cutting, and then it cuts everything all at once in a really small amount. So how small of an amount? Well, welcome to the great debate. I don't know, I've seen people say different things and they swear by them and call you names if you don't do what they say. I mean, I've seen a lot. I just do 0.03. I've done 0.4, I've done 0.5, I've done 0.1. 0.1 really, just do 0.3. right? And if you don't like it, then change it the next time you do it. Do what works for you and your machine. Some of them have too much flex, some of them don't have it. Just do what works for your machine. I'm not going to reverse the direction. We need to add tabs. What are tabs? Tabs are what hold this piece together to the outside, to the frame, holds it all together. Because if you were to cut out the profile and you didn't have anything to hold it in place, it'd just move around when it got through the last cut. It might hit your bit, you'd ruin your sign, and then you're starting all over, right? So add tabs. All right, my tabs, I don't really change it much. They're 1/2 inch and they're 0.2 inches thick, right? But now we need to edit so that actually adds them. How many do we want? You could use 2 here. I'm gonna use 4 because why not? All right, constant number 4. And we want to avoid corners and curved regions. There really isn't much here to worry about. I'm gonna hit add tabs. These little boxes right here, those are the added tabs. Now you can go over this box. When you see the X, you can slide it around, move it wherever you want it in case you're gonna have something in the way, or I don't know, in case you want it somewhere else or they put it on a corner. You can also add more tabs. See how it has the plus here? And if you go over the line, it gives you a check. That means you can add one. If you hold down the shift, go over it again, hold down the shift, hit the left click it, it goes away. All right, so that's all you need to know about tabs. So we're gonna hit close and it's all there. Do we need to ramp? We always need to ramp. It's a 1/4 inch bit. I'm gonna do 0.5. So it's gonna, and I'm just doing a smooth ramp. There's zigzags and spirals depending on your design. We can just go smooth here because it's a nice straight line. And we don't need to worry about anything else. So what are we gonna call this? Yes, class, we are gonna call it cut out. And it's a 1/4 inch end mill. And I will hit calculate. Now this window pops up and says, warning, warning. Tool will cut through material. Yes, we know because our material is this thick and we are cutting this deep. All right, not worried about it. Now, I am not going to do all the tool paths again. I'm just going to show you, pretend the sign is in the middle here. You know what? I can't do it that way. I just can't in good conscience. Reset preview, preview all tool paths. Here it goes. I'll get you before we do the final cutout. Okay, now it's doing the Pristine. Now it's doing the other ones. Now here's the cutout. You can see it cut everything out. Now that sign is cut out. You can see the size of it. And if I scroll in a little bit, this right here, that, my friends, is the tab. So you're gonna have to cut that tab somehow. There's so many different ways. I have a router bit that I use that's a 1/18 of an inch thick, and I fit it in that 1/4 inch groove and I clean it up. That's what I typically use. On this sign, there's 4 on a straight line. I'm just gonna make it real easy and just use probably a Dremel, cut it out. There's so many. You can use a saw, a hand, whatever you want. You can use whatever you want, okay? But that is the sign. All right, now back to our previously thought about thing. Before you save, you wanna change your datum. All right, so you're gonna go to, let's close this. We're gonna go to set right here, and we're gonna change some things around. All right, our board thickness is still the same, but this, now that before we save this, this is the information our machine, our CNC machine, is gonna have. So where do you want your machine to start? Do you want to start it in the center? That's fine, you can. It gets really difficult to set your bits later on when you're cutting out in the middle. So I don't start in the middle, especially on a project like this. I like to put it on the corner where my machine homes, which is right here. So I like to click that, and I like that to be where everything starts. Now you notice all the little things just went away. If we scroll out, they're not there anymore, right? All the design. It's okay. Now we got material surface. We don't need to worry about a gap. These are the gaps I'm gonna use. It's typically what I use lately, so you can adjust them for your machine. This is how high the bits are gonna be when they move, and before they plunge, you're gonna know how high the bit's gonna move back and forth. If you have things sticking out like hold down clamps and things like that, it's an issue. You can run into them if you're not high enough and it's speeding around. So Make sure it gets above your clamps. I'm not going to be using clamps. Typically, I'm either using the blue tape method or I'm just using my brad nailer and just nailing this thing down, right? And then I have the home position starting here, and it starts 1 inch above, which is all great. So I'm going to hit OK to save that. And it's going to ask me if I want to recalculate. Would you like to recalculate now? The answer is yes, I would like to recalculate now. It recalculates everything, puts all the tool paths back on the wood because we moved that datum. And it said it did it successfully, so that's a win. And we hit OK. All right, class, what do you think we do next? You got it. We're going to save. Well, actually, before we save, I'm going to show you this right here. It says Create Job Sheet. If you're new, this is important. You're going to click on Create Job Sheet, and it is going to save it. Let me find a spot to save it. Okay, I'm back. And here is the Vectric sheet that I was talking about. It's a job setup sheet. It tells you everything you need to know. So whether you print this out or have it on your phone somewhere to look at or whatever, wherever you have it, so you can use this as reference while you're setting up your CNC machine and running this project. It shows everything about your material. It shows where you're going to start with it. It shows all your datum positions here, the clearance height, right? It has it all there for you. Then it shows you the toolpath summary. It says, this is one toolpath, and this is the bit you're using, and this is and how long it's estimated to take. And it shows each bit, how long those cuts are going to take, you know, estimated. It's not definite. It's just an estimate, right? And then here it goes through each toolpath in the order you have them set up. So we had the flattening set up, then we're going to do the Pristine with the Beast, the Pristine with the 1550, and then we're going to do the texture toolpath. This sheet is invaluable for someone that's new. It tells you everything you need. And you can, if you print it out, you can jot notes on it, or you can X out what you've already done so you don't redo it in case you mess things up, right? It's just a great tool for someone who's new. All right, now back to Vectric. So we're back in Vectric, and what we want to do now is we want to save, which is this toolpath right here. And you can click on this, make sure all your toolpaths are highlighted here. And visible toolpaths to multiple files is what you're going to use a lot. Not every time, it varies from project to project, right? Some of them are going to be one file, some machines want one file. But if you're using the Onefinity and you're doing what I do, just do this. I don't like using grouping. You can, it's not a problem. But for keeping it simple for someone that's brand new, just go ahead and do visible toolpaths to multiple files. You can load each file one at a time if you want while you're learning. It's harder to mess things up this way. So do it like that, and make sure you have your machine set right here, which processor, your post-processor you're using, and make sure these are all highlighted, and you're gonna hit Save Toolpath. And for me, I save it onto a little thumb drive. Ploop, click it right into my machine, my computer. I save it, take it to the Onefinity, plug it in the Onefinity, and we're off to the races, right? So that is how you create a simple sign. All the easy steps to make something simple. I showed you the bits you can use. You don't need very many. I mean, you can get more complicated than this if you want, but when you're just getting started, make some fun signs. Make a sign that says welcome, or a sign that says family name. My family name is Zeldenrust. Last name is Zeldenrust. You can say Zeldenrust. You can put an established date or an address or a city. I mean, there's so many signs you can make, right? I know somebody that just, all they do is they make clocks with the family name on them. You can make some serious dough with little signs like this. So use this to get started making some signs with your machine. It's simple. Okay, now beyond that, if you learned something here, help me out. Please subscribe. Hit the like button a whole bunch. Like, hit the like button. Watch some of my other videos. Hit the like button, right? No, just kidding. But anyway, just please help me out. I'm trying. I got I just got to 5,000 subscribers. I'm excited. So that's why I'm asking. I want to see it go higher. So anyway, let's do this. We're going to set everything up on the CNC machine, and I'm just going to show you the quick cuts, and I'll show you everything when I'm done. All right, see you at the machine.